Welcome to the Rise Resolute podcast. I'm Gina Meyer. I'm a doctor of physical therapy committed to empowering every woman to live a vibrant, fulfilling, experience-seeking, and healthy life. It is such a pleasure today to have Lonnie Woods on the podcast. She is founder and host of Black with Endurance, and she's an urban adventurer. And I am just super pumped to hear more about her life, her journey, and what she stands for. So welcome, Lonnie.
Thank you for having me. It is an honor to be here.
Absolutely. Well, before we get going on some of my questions, I was wondering if you could just take a moment and give the listeners just a little more background on who you are, Lonnie.
Sure, definitely. Well, my name is Lonnie Woods. I am most known in the obstacle course racing community. I am the founder and co-host of Black with Endurance podcast and Black with Endurance Media, which is a company that we started to highlight Black athletes in non-traditional sports, such as endurance sports like triathlon, cycling, swimming, other sports that aren't really common, like obstacle course racing. So we started that, me and my co-host and co-founder, who is Coach William Solomon, we started it in July of 2020, and in January or technically December of 2020, we started the podcast and have interviewed a lot of different athletes, like the first Black male triathlete. Um, we've we've had an array of different athletes that don't really get highlighted or people don't really know about because they're not in mainstream media because they don't play like regular sports. So that's that. I'm mostly known in the obstacle course racing community. I actually recently, well, not recently, it was in October of 2019, I broke my leg, tore my ACL at an obstacle course race. And so I took the time during the pandemic to really heal and started a group with one of my friends who's my ACL sister. And we started like a knee support group during the pandemic.
Love it.
And that's kind of my background to get me to where I'm at now, I guess.
Wow. I had no idea that you did that. That's crazy. So you said that was in 2019 that you went through that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's when it started, and then I had a cast, a full leg cast until December, and then in February I had the surgery to reconstruct my ACL, and then I had to have 2 more surgeries after that because of complications.
Oh my gosh, this is
It was
crazy.
a long year.
So I actually have interviewed a lot of people on the podcast who have gone through that kind of ACL journey. Jen is one that has had like tons of revisions and whatnot. It's such a difficult journey. And as a physical therapist, I mean, I can relate to that too. So I think it's a good starting point for us to kind of talk about perseverance through struggle. This podcast is about, kind of connecting all of us through our struggles, our shared struggles, even though there may not be quite exactly the same, we can all kind of relate and connect and be empowered by the mental skills that we learn through struggle. So take us to that a little bit, Lonnie. Tell us a little bit about how you made it through. I mean, that's a pretty serious injury. First of all, what in the world happened? How did you do this? Oh my gosh, do I want to know? I don't know.
I know, right? So I'm a little, like I said, an adventurer, but I had did a flip off of one of the obstacles at an obstacle course race. And when I landed, my leg kind of just went snap, which it wasn't like my leg snapped. It was my ACL and my PCL, partial tear of my MCL as well, and my calf ruptured. And the PCL was something called a tibial plateau avulsion fracture, where it like pulled the bone away.
Yep.
So
like the more serious of the
It was tough, and I was just like, originally I thought it was like, okay, well, my leg is swollen or something, I didn't think it was too bad. It was like, oh well, in a few weeks I'll be back. But then after getting the MRI and everything and learning everything I did to my leg, I knew it wasn't going to happen that fast. So, and then after I had the first surgery, COVID. That's when COVID like shut everything down. So my physical therapy got closed.
Oh no.
Like literally 2 weeks after surgery, now I have no physical therapy. And I had to really like deal with it on my own. And so having that support group was very helpful. And because we had a lot of people in the group that had already had their surgery and were further along. So they kind of shared what exercises they had done and what they were doing and kind of kept us on top of our stuff for those of us that were being affected by the closures. And it was tough. It was really tough. It was, I would say, it was more tough mentally than physically. And then that's another reason that pushed me with Black with Endurance, because endurance is so many different things. It's not just physical endurance. In endurance sports, the hardest thing to do is talk, your self-talk when you're going through something hard.
Yeah.
It's mentally enduring, pushing yourself past your limits, and being in a pandemic with a freaking broken leg, not being able to do anything or leave your house can be
Yeah.
mentally draining.
Totally. You know, this I really, really love this line of conversation, because I was actually I made a post about this the other day. I was thinking about endurance of spirit and how, our bodies, of course, when we're trying to do athletic things or obstacle courses or whatever it is, they have to be able to, endure those long distances or whatever it is we're doing. But our spirit, the endurance of spirit piece is so important too. And I think sometimes we neglect, first of all, the work that we have to put in to building up that endurance through every struggle we face in life. And like you said, it's really getting yourself, mentally to push yourself, past your limits and really keep going despite, setback after setback after challenge after setback. It's really a difficult thing. So, going through that particular struggle, Lonnie, is there any lesson or are there words of wisdom that you would share, having been through that and kind of come out on the other side?
Um, you know what? A few months ago, I would have had a lot to say, but
Yeah.
the biggest thing I could say is find your tribe, find support around you, because going at it alone and staying closed off is hard. It's going to make it harder. And don't compare. Don't compare yourself to someone else's journey. Every injury is different. Everyone's journey to recover is different. And just make sure you're doing the work, and also don't ignore your mental stuff as well, because sometimes you can get bored doing the work and fall off of your physical therapy that you're supposed to be doing at home. But it's like, don't beat yourself up. We all do it. We all have days where we don't feel like it. Just pick up where you left off and keep moving forward, and you're going to get to the other side.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you say find your tribe. And I do. I think it's so important. And that's the aim of this podcast, too, is just hopefully it falls on someone today who's feeling alone or down and out, or maybe they have an ACL injury, who knows? And just knowing that you're not alone and you're never alone, and you have to be willing to, find those who can support you and ask for the help, when you're in those moments that are really difficult. So
Yeah.
talk to me a little bit. So I want to hear more about Black with Endurance. I think it's so amazing. Your feed is great. First of all, tell everyone how they can find that feed and check it out and listen to your podcast. So do that first, and then give us a little more background. You kind of told the story just now, but what do you see upcoming for Black with Endurance, and where's it headed, Lonnie?
Well, you can find Black with Endurance on Instagram at Black with Endurance, and also the podcast and our merch at blackwithendurance.com. Right now it has been just mostly the podcast, but we're actually going to have our first expedition October 23rd. We have a group of 8 Black athletes that are going to be running the Grand Canyon rim to rim to rim
No way!
in
So
16
cool.
hours. So that is going to be dope. I will be there as support. I will not be running it myself, but
Awesome.
my co-founder coach, he will be running it. He'll be leading the team. And that's one of our first things. We're also going to have a virtual option for people to join us, and they'll get a shirt and a finisher medal to do the miles on their own time. Like, they don't have to do it in the time that we're doing it in the day. They can do it throughout the whole month of October. And Ultimately, we're going to try to do a few other races. After this, we're going to try to do virtual events like every season.
Very cool.
And so that's where we're going with that.
Yeah, I love it. I just think that this whole idea of celebrating endurance and how special it is to have endurance of mind, body, and spirit is just something really cool. And I think it's something that we can all strive towards,
Yes.
that it's so important to help us lead vibrant and fulfilling lives is to have that kind of mental endurance. So I know you probably prioritize, endurance and seeing things through. I love to hear from my guests also about other things that they prioritize in life, Lonnie. So does anything come to mind to you when I ask, what are your priorities?
I guess, well, how I end up in this type of, I guess, lifestyle is I really do prioritize my health. I come from a family that is not that healthy, that makes a lot of poor decisions when it comes to diet and exercise. Like they don't do it at all. And I watched a lot of my family members suffer from different medical issues that could have been prevented with just diet and exercise. So that encourages me to focus on that because I want to be here for my kids. I want to be healthy. I don't want to just be here and then be a burden or anything like that. I want to live. I want to be able to lead an active life. So I prioritize my health in that way and also my mental health as well. So,
Yeah, and I think these are great things, and I do agree that it really takes some focus to prioritize both mental and physical health. I think that some people get caught up in the motions of just going through their day to day, and we're all busy and we all have a lot going on, and we let those pieces slip away. And then you're right. Then you find yourself facing health challenges, and things can get really serious. So, and that's part of what we do. I was telling you before we started taping with ARC, Active, Resolute, Connected. We really seek to break barriers of race, culture, ethnicity, socioeconomic status, perceived ability, body type, and bring people to movement and running if they're able, and really help them to embrace that healthy lifestyle because it has great benefits not only for our body but also for our mind. So I love that you recognize and prioritize health of mind and body. I think that's great.
thank you.
Tell me a little bit more about how you have also witnessed, Lonnie, the power that we as women have to help other women in our lives. Have you had any experience with that as you've been on your journey so far?
Definitely. So the main people in my family or in the group that we have, our knee support group, are mostly women. And one of the founding members is a girl or a woman from Chicago, and the other is in Hong Kong. And we all came together on our
Wow.
different journeys, doing in different ways, and created this group that is now a family of people that supported each other through this hard time. So it's always a memorable thing. But um, even now, we support each other in things that we're doing separately. So, like the woman in Hong Kong, she has um, a page or a brand called Needy as Fuck.
Okay.
I love the name, but it's basically brought knee surgery um, patients together from all over the world, from so many different parts of the world,
Wow.
but they all can go to that page and have been on that page and have found community there. And then Sosa from Chicago, she has a page called ACL Warriors, where she highlights people that are going through and who have overcome their ACL journey. And then I have another podcast called Unrelenting Humans, where I interview adaptive athletes and injured athletes. That was before I started Black with Endurance, and now I'm here too.
Yeah,
I'm
I
all
love
over the
it so
place.
much. I love how you talk about that. The founders kind of came together, even though everybody's on their different journeys, but somehow we come together and we align on a purpose. And I think that that's really powerful to just like put it out there that we don't all have to be the same to come
Yeah,
together and support each other, right? We can be on
definitely.
completely different paths and still find this common ground. And that's really like, that's the beauty of it, right? I mean, I love it when I can come together and connect with someone who's not like me.
Yeah,
It's the best. And so I love that you bring that up. And I would love to put that out there for anyone who's listening today. Like, take that step, go out of your comfort zone with people you're going to connect with and,
yeah,
come meet them where they are in their own journey and don't be afraid. Would you agree?
right. Definitely. I definitely agree. And I think a lot of time as women, we get intimidated by other women or we think that things are a competition and it's not. Like everyone is running their own race and it doesn't help anyone to be envious or to be competitive when we all can work together because we're all trying to get somewhere and
Yeah.
helping each other will get us there faster.
Yeah, totally. I completely agree with that. And, I was just um, leading a meeting for ARC the other day, and I was talking about one of my favorite Mother Teresa quotes, and I'm going to butcher it right now, but it's something like, alone you can do things I cannot, I can do things you cannot, and together we can do great things. And so just everyone bringing their unique talents to the table and using them for the greater good together, I think can be
I
so
love it.
so powerful. Okay, so a couple more questions before we go into my little rapid fire at the end. And the last one really is just: are there any other words of encouragement, Lonnie, that you'd like to put out there for women who might be facing a struggle as they're listening to this podcast today?
I mean, we are amazing. We are women. We are strong. Don't let anybody make you feel less than or judge you. Do what you're doing. Do what makes you happy. Live your life on your terms, and everything will work out
Yes. I mean,
regardless.
bam, there you go. Perfect. Great advice. And I like what you said at the end too. Just, live a happy life and things are going to work out. I mean, and there's another quote too, because I'm a quote junkie. And it's like, if things aren't resolved, it's not over yet. So just keep going because it ain't over till it's over. Um,
Right.
Okay, rapid fire. Couple quick questions to wrap up the episode. Just aimed at like positivity. Okay, so we talked about priorities in life and things that you prioritize, the big things. Now I want to hear just like little things in your day-to-day life, Lonnie, that bring you joy. Like for example, for me, my first cup of coffee in the morning. I just love it. When the sun is actually rising as I get up. So pretty. These are things. So are there any little things that come to mind that bring you joy?
I enjoy all the little things.
Oh.
I really enjoy animals. Animals make me happy. There's something that I realized just recently while cycling that I really, really enjoy watching the sunset. Like
Yeah.
I don't know why. I catch the sunset, and when I do, it's always different. It's never the same. And it just makes me feel at ease. I don't know, it's the end of the day and it's just like watching it
Yep.
go down and
Yep.
it's relaxing.
Totally. I agree. I feel like there's some kind of connection to like the spiritual side of life too when you watch the sunrise or set. It's sort of like that line between where we are and whatever is beyond is kind of blurred a little. I don't know. That's how I feel when I'm out.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
okay. Next one is a complete the sentence. Okay. So
Okay.
take your time. But it's gonna go out to anyone who's listening today. So complete this sentence. You can.
Do everything you put your mind to if your heart is truly in it.
Nice. I love it. Yeah. And, I was just listening to another podcast today that was talking about how to ask ourselves, like, is our heart in whatever it is that we're working towards? Like, are we just putting in the effort because we feel like we need to? Or is our heart really in whatever it is that we're putting our energy towards? Now,
Right.
not everything in life. Like, I mean, my heart is not in washing dishes or folding clothes. I'm sorry. It's not. But I still have to do
But you
it.
want a clean house, so
Yeah,
it's
but
like
right. I still have to do it. But some of the bigger things that I think we kind of go through the motions and get in a pattern without asking ourselves, is my heart in this? Is it bringing me joy? Is it adding to my life? And
I had a moment like that actually a few weeks ago.
okay,
I
tell me.
recently I started cycling a little more than 2 months ago, and I decided I wanted to do my first century ride in August. So I did two century rides in August actually, and then I was on another ride. It was a training ride, and we were doing a climb up a hill, and it was really steep, and it was really, really hard. And I just didn't want to do that. Like, it
Yeah.
wasn't that I couldn't. It's like I really just didn't want to.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Uh-huh.
this is just hard. Like, it's a beautiful day outside. Why am I going up this hill? I just want to go to the beach.
Yeah.
And so my heart wasn't there, and I stopped and I went home and went to the beach. But
Nice. I know, but this is an example. It's like we have to ask ourselves and check in and, think a little bit more deeply about the way that we spend our energy and our time. I think it's always valuable. So, okay, very last one. Another complete the sentence. Going out to anyone who's listening. Never forget.
never forget your worth. Yes. Never forget your worth. Never forget that you are the prize. This is something one of my friends told me after getting out of a crazy relationship. And I remember that anytime I'm in any situation, whether it's dating or training with a new coach, just remember that you are the prize, know your worth, and if something doesn't feel right, just walk away. Everything will still be okay.
Yeah, those words are so awesome. I never forget that you are the prize. I have not heard anyone say that yet, and I've asked this question a lot of times, and it just rings so true, and it's so beautiful about really loving ourselves, and never doubting our own worth. And I just such a powerful way to actually end this conversation, Lonnie. So thank you. You rocked it. Yay. Okay, well, fantastic. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me. I'm going to continue following Black with Endurance, and I encourage everyone who's listening today to go check it out and listen to some conversations with these awesome athletes who are doing things that are very different and are not usually celebrated in this way. So thank you again for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It has been a pleasure.
Absolutely. And listeners, thank you for coming on this ride. I hope it gave you some new perspective today, some positivity. And there were a lot of really great little pieces of advice that were in here. But I'm going to leave you with just a couple from Lonnie. One is to find your tribe and don't compare yourselves to others. And then the last is what we just discussed. Just never, ever forget that you are the prize and never let anyone take away your worth. We believe we are so much stronger together. Let's lift each other up. Connected, we can rise.